Something is changing, and you can feel it. Not outside, but deep within you. Over the next 3 days, March 26th to 28th, a powerful cosmic shift is unfolding. This isn't just another astrological event. This is a turning point, a moment where timelines split, where old versions of you begin to dissolve, and something new begins to rise. You may feel restless, emotional, detached,
Awaken the light,
or strangely awakened.
the sacred design.
That's not random. That's the universe calling you to step into your next chapter. And what happens in these 3 days will shape your future in ways you can't yet imagine. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening to you and why your soul chose this moment. 1. The build-up. Why everything feels different. For weeks, maybe even months, something has been shifting inside you. It didn't happen overnight. At first, it was subtle. A quiet discomfort you couldn't explain. Conversations that once felt effortless now feel empty, like words are being exchanged, but nothing real is being felt. The same routines that once gave you stability now feel heavy, repetitive, almost suffocating. You wake up some days with a strange feeling, like you're meant for something more, but you can't quite name what that more is. And slowly, without even realizing it, you began to change. You may have started pulling away from people, not out of anger, not out of ego, but because your energy no longer aligns with the same frequencies. Things that once excited you don't hit the same anymore. The noise, the drama, the surface level connections. They feel distant now. This is the beginning of awakening. And what you're feeling right now is not confusion. It's clarity trying to break through layers of conditioning. The universe has been preparing you for this exact moment, long before you even realized it. Every experience you've had, every challenge, every disappointment, every moment of doubt, it was all leading you here. Because before any major transformation, there is always a phase of disruption. This is the part most people don't talk about. The part where everything familiar starts to fall apart. Old patterns begin to crumble. Habits that once defined you lose their grip. Beliefs you once held onto tightly begin to feel uncertain. And the version of you that once felt safe, predictable, and understood starts to feel unfamiliar. That's not something to fear. That's something to recognize. You are outgrowing the life you once built. During this build-up phase, your soul is doing deep internal work. It's shedding layers, not just on the surface, but at the core of who you are. Layers of fear that kept you playing small. Layers of expectations placed on you by society, family, or past versions of yourself. Identities you carried for years that were never truly yours to begin with. And this shedding process, it's not always gentle. Sometimes it feels like confusion. Sometimes it feels like isolation. Sometimes it feels like you've lost a part of yourself. But in reality, you're returning to yourself. And that's why things feel uncomfortable. Because you are no longer who you used to be. But you haven't fully stepped into who you're becoming. You are standing in the middle of 2 versions of your life. The past that is fading and the future that is calling you forward. This in-between space, it's sacred. It's where transformation happens. But it can also feel incredibly lonely. You might feel like no one truly understands what you're going through. Like you're seeing things differently than everyone around you. Like you've stepped into a reality that others haven't noticed yet. And in many ways, that's true. Because awakening is deeply personal. It's not something that can be explained easily. It's something that must be experienced. And the signs, they're already around you. You're noticing repeating numbers at random moments, almost like subtle messages trying to get your attention. You're feeling drawn to silence, to stillness, to moments where you can just be with your thoughts. You're questioning everything: your path, your purpose, your relationships, even your beliefs about who you are. And most importantly, you're starting to listen to yourself, not the noise of the world, not the expectations of others, but your own inner voice, that quiet, intuitive knowing that has always been there, waiting for you to hear it. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning. And what's coming next will take this transformation to a level you never imagined possible. 2. March 26th, the portal opens. March 26th is not just another day. It carries a different weight, a different frequency. You may wake up and feel it immediately. Something in the air feels charged, alive, almost electric. It's subtle but undeniable, like the world hasn't changed. Yet somehow everything feels different. That's because this day marks the opening of an energetic portal, a powerful window where the veil between your current reality and your higher path becomes thinner than usual. And when that veil thins, truth rises. There's no more hiding from what you feel, no more pushing things aside, no more distractions strong enough to silence that inner voice. Everything intensifies. Your emotions may feel stronger than usual, deeper, heavier, more real. You might find yourself reacting to things that normally wouldn't affect you, or feeling waves of emotion that seem to come out of nowhere. But they're not random. They're rising for a reason. Thoughts you've been avoiding start surfacing. Truths you've been suppressing demand your attention. You may feel an overwhelming urge to change something. Your environment, your habits, your direction, even your relationships. Things that once felt fine suddenly feel unbearable. And it might confuse you at first. You might ask yourself, why now? Why, all of a sudden, does everything feel so intense? Because this is not chaos. This is activation. The energy of March 26th is designed to illuminate everything that is out of alignment with your higher self. It's like a spotlight being turned on inside your life, revealing what's real and what's not. Anything that doesn't match your true path will start to feel heavy, draining, impossible to ignore. You'll notice it in your body, in your energy, in the way certain situations suddenly feel exhausting. And then the realizations begin. Sudden, powerful moments where everything clicks. Moments where you stop in your tracks and think, why am I still holding on to this? This isn't who I am anymore. I've been settling, and I know I deserve more. These thoughts won't feel like overthinking. They'll feel like truth, clear, direct, unavoidable, because they are not just thoughts. They are downloads, messages from your higher consciousness guiding you back into alignment with who you are meant to be. But here's where the real challenge begins. Not everyone listens. When this kind of energy rises, people have a choice: to face the truth or to resist it. And resistance is powerful. Some will try to distract themselves. Some will ignore what they feel. Some will cling tighter to what's familiar, even when it's clearly no longer serving them. Because letting go requires courage, and facing your truth changes everything. That resistance creates tension, emotional, mental, even physical. It can feel like anxiety, restlessness, or a constant inner conflict. A part of you wants to evolve, and another part is afraid to let go. But if you allow yourself to flow with this shift instead of fighting it, March 26th becomes a breakthrough, a turning point. You may feel a sudden surge of courage, like something inside you finally wakes up. A quiet strength that says, enough, enough settling, enough pretending, enough holding yourself back. You may feel the urge to finally speak your truth, to express what you've been holding in, to set boundaries where you once stayed silent, to release something or someone that's been weighing on your soul. And most importantly, to choose yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a truthful way, in a way that honors your growth, your worth, your evolution. This is the moment where your soul begins to take the lead, where your inner voice becomes louder than your fears, where alignment starts to matter more than comfort. And once you cross that line, once you truly see what needs to change, once you feel that deep, undeniable knowing, there's no going back, because you've awakened to a truth that refuses to be ignored. And from this moment forward, everything begins to shift. 3. March 27th. The emotional release. If March 26th is the activation, then March 27th is the release. This is where things get deep, because once the truth is revealed, it can no longer be ignored. And when truth rises to the surface, it doesn't just sit quietly in your mind. It moves through your entire being. It stirs your emotions. It touches your memories. It unlocks doors inside you that you may have closed a long time ago. And that's when the emotional wave begins. You might feel overwhelmed, like everything is happening all at once. Your sensitivity increases. Sounds feel louder. Energy feels heavier. Even small things might trigger big emotions. You may feel exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Like you've been carrying something heavy for far too long. And now your soul is finally asking you to put it down. Old memories may begin to resurface. Moments from your past that you haven't thought about in years may suddenly appear in your mind with surprising clarity. Conversations, experiences, feelings, all rising back to the surface. And it might confuse you. You might think, why is this coming back now? I thought I already healed this. But this isn't regression. This is purification. There's a difference. Regression pulls you backward. Purification sets you free. Your soul is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to clear you. It's bringing these memories and emotions up, not to trap you in them, but to release them fully this time. Because anything that still carries emotional weight is still connected to you. And your future cannot fully open while you're still energetically tied to your past. So, this is the moment where everything that no longer belongs in your next chapter begins to rise. So it can finally leave. Every fear you've been holding on to, every doubt that has kept you playing small, every emotional attachment that has been silently shaping your decisions. It all comes forward. And yes, it can feel intense. You might cry without fully understanding why. Tears may come not from sadness alone, but from release, from something deep inside you finally letting go. You might feel the urge to isolate, to step away from the world for a moment, not because you're weak, but because your soul is asking for space. Space to process, space to heal, space to breathe. You might question everything, your past choices, your relationships, your direction. You might even question yourself, but understand this. You are not breaking down. You are breaking free. There's a powerful difference between the two. Breaking down feels like losing yourself. Breaking free is finding yourself underneath everything that was never truly you. This emotional release is necessary because you cannot step into a new version of yourself while carrying the emotional weight of your past identity. You cannot hold onto old pain and expect to feel new peace. You cannot cling to who you were and fully become who you are meant to be. So this is the moment where you let go. Not forcefully, not through struggle, but naturally. Like a tree shedding its leaves when the season changes. It doesn't resist. It doesn't question. It simply allows what is no longer needed to fall away. And that's what your soul is asking you to do. To allow, to surrender, to trust that what is leaving your life right now is making space for something greater. Because what falls away was never meant to go with you into your future. And what remains after the release is your truth, pure, clear, unfiltered. If you can surrender to this process instead of fighting it, March 27th becomes incredibly powerful. It becomes the day you release your old identity, the day you stop holding on to who you were, the day you stop defining yourself by your past experiences, your pain, your limitations, and instead, you begin to embrace who you are becoming. Lighter, stronger, more aligned, more you than ever before. And from this place of release, something new begins to rise. 4. March 28th. The rebirth. Stepping into your higher self. And then, everything shifts. After the emotional waves of the previous day, after the release, the heaviness, the letting go, March 28th arrives with a completely different energy. It doesn't rush in. It doesn't overwhelm you. It enters quietly, gently, like the first light of sunrise after a long, dark night. And with it comes something you haven't felt in a while. Clarity. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep, steady, and undeniable. At first, it's subtle. A calmness settles within you. A stillness replaces the chaos. Your mind feels quieter. Your heart feels lighter. The emotional weight you were carrying doesn't feel as heavy anymore. And for a moment, you pause. Because something inside you feels different. Not in a way you can fully explain, but in a way you can deeply feel. Because something has changed. After the release of March 27th, there is now space. Space where confusion once lived. Space where emotional heaviness once lingered. Space where the past once held power. And in that space, something new begins to emerge. This is your rebirth. Not loud, not forced, not something you need to chase. It unfolds naturally. Because you made room for it. You may start to notice it in small ways. The way you think begins to shift. Thoughts that once came from fear now come from awareness. You start questioning less and understanding more. You begin to trust yourself in a way you didn't before. The way you react changes too. Situations that once triggered you no longer have the same hold over you. Things that would have once pulled you into emotional chaos now pass through you with a sense of calm control. You're no longer reacting from old wounds. You're responding from a higher place. And even the way you see your life begins to transform. You start viewing situations from a broader perspective. Not just, why is this happening to me? But, what is this teaching me? And that shift alone changes everything. Because awareness is power. And this is how you know. You've evolved. This is the version of you your soul has been guiding you toward all along. More aware of your patterns. More aligned with your truth. More authentic in how you show up in the world. But here's the most important part. This rebirth is not about becoming someone new. It's not about transforming into a completely different person. It's about remembering who you've always been, before the fear, before the conditioning, before the expectations, the doubts, the limitations that were placed on you by the world, or even by yourself. Beneath all of that, there is a version of you that has always existed. A version of you that is powerful without trying, intuitive without questioning, connected without seeking validation. That version of you was never lost. It was simply buried. And now, on March 28th, that version rises, not as something unfamiliar, but as something deeply recognized, like meeting yourself again, for the first time. This is where your future begins to shift, not because something external suddenly changes, but because you have changed internally. And when you change internally, your external reality has no choice but to follow. You begin to attract different experiences. New opportunities may start to appear, not by coincidence, but because your energy is now aligned with them. New connections may enter your life. People who resonate with the version of you you're becoming, not the version you've outgrown. New paths begin to open. Directions you may not have even considered before, but now feel right. And it's important to understand. This is not luck. This is alignment. You're no longer forcing things. You're no longer chasing what isn't meant for you. You're allowing what is meant for you to find you. And once you step fully into this energy, your life begins to move in a completely different direction. More ease, more clarity, more purpose, not because everything becomes perfect, but because you are finally in sync with yourself. And when that happens, everything changes. 5. What this means for your future. This 3-day shift is not just a temporary experience. It's not something that comes and then fades away like a passing emotion. This is a timeline shift, a powerful turning point where your inner world begins to reshape your outer reality. A moment where your choices, your awareness, and your willingness to grow begin to determine the direction your life will take next. Because after March 28th, you will not see life the same way. And that's not by accident. That's by design. Because once you awaken, you cannot go back to sleep. You can try to ignore it. You can try to return to old habits, old patterns, old ways of thinking. But something inside you will always know. It will whisper to you. It will nudge you. It will remind you that you've seen the truth, and you can't unsee it. And because of that, your perception begins to change. You start noticing things you never saw before. The energy in people. How some interactions lift you, while others drain you. The subtle shifts in conversations. What's genuine and what's not. The unspoken feelings in certain environments. What feels right and what doesn't. You become more aware, more present, more connected to something deeper than just surface level reality. And then the signs begin to appear. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in small, meaningful moments. Synchronicities that feel too precise to be coincidence. Perfect timing, unexpected opportunities, repeated symbols, numbers, or messages that seem to guide you in a certain direction. And for the first time, you don't question them as much. You feel them. You trust them. Because you're no longer disconnected from yourself. You're aligned. You'll begin to trust yourself more than ever before. That inner voice, the one you used to doubt, becomes clearer, stronger, more confident. Instead of asking everyone else for answers, you start looking within. And what you find there is guidance. Real, grounded, intuitive guidance. You begin making decisions differently. Not from fear, not from pressure, not from the need to please others, but from alignment, from a place that feels right in your body, your mind, and your soul. And this is where your true power lies. Because the future is not something that just happens to you. It's not random. It's not luck. It's something you create moment by moment. With every thought you choose to believe. With every action you choose to take. With every moment of awareness where you pause and choose growth instead of comfort. This shift is giving you a rare opportunity, a chance to realign your path, to step away from what was never truly meant for you, to release what has been holding you back, even if it once felt familiar or safe, and to finally step into your purpose. Not the version of purpose defined by others, but the one that feels true to you, the one that resonates deeply within your soul. But stepping into that path requires one thing above all else: trust. Trust the process, even when you don't fully understand it. Trust the discomfort, even when it feels unfamiliar. Trust the transformation, even when it feels uncertain. Because growth rarely feels comfortable. Change rarely feels easy. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's real. And even in moments where everything feels unclear, even when you feel like you're standing in the unknown, you are being guided. Every emotion you felt, every realization you had, every moment of clarity, confusion, release, and rebirth, it all has a purpose. Nothing you experience during this shift was random. It was all leading you somewhere, and everything happening right now is aligning you with the life you are meant to live. A life that reflects who you truly are. A life that feels authentic, meaningful, and deeply connected. So as you move forward from this moment, remember this: you are not the same person you were before these 3 days. Something has shifted within you. Something has awakened. And from here on, every step you take carries that awareness forward. Every choice you make shapes your new reality. And every moment you choose alignment over fear. You step deeper into the life that was always waiting for you. Because this isn't just a shift. This is your beginning. And you are exactly where you're meant to be. So if you've been feeling different lately, if your emotions have been intense, if your life feels like it's shifting in ways you can't fully explain, now you know why. This is your awakening. This is your transformation. And this is your moment. The next 3 days are not here to break you. They are here to reveal you. So don't resist it. Don't question it. Step into it. Because the version of you waiting on the other side is everything you've been searching for. And your new life begins now.